Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shavonne. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. You don't want to miss out on any of my videos, honey. So today is a story time. I've tried to film this story time, and this is probably the fourth time I've tried to film this story time. So now I'm using my cell phone instead of my 35mm camera because I don't even know what's going on with my editor, blah, 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 and everything else. It's like too much for me right now. So I'm filming this on my phone. And yeah, that's it. That's all we need to talk about. So today's a story time, and I'm going to tell y'all about my my freaking crazy Bumble date that I've had. I've had two of those. They're like, I always tell people all the time, like, I'm a Gemini. Like I always say, Geminis, we're special creatures. Like, we're very outgoing, great spirits. We all have crazy in our DNA. It's just different levels. Like, you don't want to date nobody or be around somebody who got bodies buried underneath their houses or whatnot. Like, there's different levels of crazy. But anyways, okay, so we're going to give him a name. We're going to name him Jared. So the reason why, first of all, let me give you a little backstory on why I went on Bumble. So I'm a big time, I love YouTube. I don't really watch television anymore. I haven't watched television in a while. Like, it's more like white noise to me. Like, I'll turn my TV on and it's just like, it makes me feel like I'm not alone in my house. So television is like white noise. So I noticed on YouTube, a lot of big time YouTubers have found like loves of their life, have gotten married, woody woo, and they found their loved ones from Bumble. So I was like, okay, because I wasn't really into the whole Tinder thing because I'm not a loose woman, honey. I am not loose. So, anyways, I saw a lot of higher up YouTubers that I follow and I watch their video. I've watched for years. They found like their loved ones and stuff from Bumble. So I was like, okay, Bumble must be legit, you know? So I made me a little profile, blah, blah. And like, I love the fact on Bumble that the women get to choose. So we swipe right. And if y'all already swiped right on us, it automatically connects. And then we're the ones that initiate, is that the word? Initiate the conversation. So, I'm swiping. I'm like, okay, there's some potential here. I'm reading profiles. And if you're a guy and you got a Bumble profile, fill it out, because I don't know about other women, but I know me as a person, as a female, I'm a person. Me as a female, I read everything. Like, I want details. I Google people. I do all that stuff. But anyway, so, I saw this guy and I was like, okay, he's attractive. He looked like, I don't know if a lot of y'all gonna remember this, but the old Beverly Hills 90210 show that used to come on, it's back, it's many, many years ago. I was super, super young then, honey. I was super young. But the guy who played Dylan, I think his name is Luke Perry. So the guy I saw on Bumble, he looked like him. He looked like a younger version of Luke Perry. So I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. Like, he had less of a forehead, because I know like the actor Luke Perry has like this big old now later head. I don't even know. But he had less of a forehead. I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. So I swiped right on him and we matched. He had already like swiped right on me. So we matched. And so I initiated the conversation. I was like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah. So we started chatting through Bumble, and I really liked he seemed like he had a really good spirit. So we exchanged numbers. We texted for a while. We spoke on the phone and hear each other's voice. And then finally he was like, you know what? I would like to meet you. So I was like, okay, cool. So we ended up meeting at the Henry, which is in downtown Dallas, where I live. So we met at the Henry, and we ended up dropping our cars off at the same time, valet in front of the restaurant. But when we got out, we saw each other, and I was like, okay. This is what I was thinking in my head. I was like, he looks like his pictures, but then he don't. I'm like, when did he take these pictures again? Okay. But I'm a type of person, like, I'm very, like, an optimistic type individual, and I try not to judge people by their looks, I should say, even though that's, like, the first thing you see. Like, anybody who says they don't automatically come up with a judgment or an idea of what that person is, an idea of what that person is when you first see them is a lie. So when I saw him, I was like, okay, well, he kind of looks like his photos, but then he kind of doesn't. And the thing I was thinking was, like, he's very petite. And I'm not a very tall woman. I'm only like 5'4". But I used to do fitness competitions, NPC, figure, and stuff like that. So I got a little bit of muscle mass. And I was thinking, okay, at that time when I met him, I was pretty ripped. I ain't gonna lie. So I was like, I thought to myself, like, if he gets funny or if he tried to act crazy, I can take him. We're going to call him Jared. That's what we're going to name. We're going to name him Jared. So we go into the restaurant, and the cool thing about, like, if you haven't been to the Henry's, it's pretty cool. Like, the bottom floor is very, what's the word? Casual bougie, I should say. I should say. I don't know why I'm talking about a lisp. Well, I just had some dental work done, so that's probably why. But it's very casual bougie. Like, you need to dress nice when you come in there, period. Casual, but dress nice. So, like, the bottom floor is like the restaurant part where they serve, like, all night or whatnot. And then you can go up the stairs. It's like an open cocktail type lounge area. They have fire pits and the bar. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, it's all open, but you can go sit on, like, lounge couches with a fire pit, or you can sit by the bar, and they always have music and stuff playing up there. So we ended up, like, going upstairs. So we sat at the bar, we had a couple of drinks, conversation was great, we laughed, blah, blah, and stuff like that. And so, like, we had a really good time. And then when it got close to the end of the night, I was like, okay, I'm going to go down to valet, get my car, and go home. So he's like, okay, I'm walking down with you, I'm going to get my vehicle as well. So we went downstairs, we went outside to valet in front of the restaurant, and we were chit-chatting. We hadn't actually walked over to the valet guys yet, but we were chit-chatting, and he was like, I really enjoyed our conversation. We had a great time, blah, blah. I'd love to see you again. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I would like to see you again, too. Because, I mean, no lie, like, we had great conversation. Like, our personalities matched. And, like, I had a really good time. So he's like, I would love to take you out again. I said, oh, really? I'm trying to be cute then. I'm trying, oh, really? A little flirt my eyelashes. I'm like, so when we get down there, I'm trying to be cute and stuff. He's like, I would really like to see you again. Like, the conversation was amazing. Like, I enjoyed your company. I want to really show you how a queen should be treated. Like, yeah, honey, I am a queen. But he's like, I would really like to show you how a queen should be treated, and I want to take you out to a really, like, nice restaurant and treat you the way you should be treated. So I was like, okay. But no. So I was like, so when do you want to take me out? He's like, how about tomorrow? And I think it was like a Friday that we met at the Henry. So yeah, I think it was a Friday. And so, like, he's like, I want to take you out tomorrow. And me, I'm trying to hold it in. I'm like, inside, I'm like, he love him some Shavonne, honey. Why wouldn't he? But then, like, I'm trying to, like, keep my face straight when he tells me that. So I'm like, okay, I'm down. I don't have anything. My schedule's free Saturday, whatnot. We could do whatever. Not do whatever, but I was like, yeah, we can hang out. I'm up to, like, going out on another date. He's like, no, I'm gonna take you on a real date. I'm gonna take you on a date to an extremely nice restaurant. It's got a cool vibe. He's like, wear your best dress. He's like, not that you're not best dressed. He's like, because you look gorgeous. What you got on right now, you look beautiful. He's like, but put your stilettos on. We gonna do this. So I'm like, okay, I'm down. I was thinking to myself, I done found me a man. I done found me a dang man that knows how to treat me like a queen, honey. So we get in our cars and we leave. So the next day he messages me and he's like, hey, good morning, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, good morning to you. He's like, I'll be there to pick you up at 7:30. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put my bad beach outfit on. So I go and I'm like the whole day I'm excited about this. So I get my outfit together. I'm wearing like this tight red, got my tatas pushed up, this tight red bandage dress, and I got my stilettos on, honey. I'm talking 6.5, 7-inch stilettos. I'm doing a dang thing. I don't come to play. I don't come to play. So I have my dress on, I have my heels, hair on point, makeup on. Okay, makeup was tight, I'm telling you. So he texts me, he's like, hey, I'm almost to your building. You know, I was like, okay, I'll meet you downstairs. I'll be in the lobby. When you pull into the front area, just text me. If I don't see you, just text me and I'll come out the building. He's like, okay, cool. So I'm down there and I'm sitting. He comes in, he texts me, and I come out of the building. He gets out of his vehicle. He opens the door. I get in. He's very polite. We drive to this restaurant. I'm gonna tell you right now, I wish I could remember the name of this restaurant, and I really would like to text him or message him on Instagram, because he follows me on Instagram. This is after the date's over with, which I can't believe. Like, instantly the next day he followed me on Instagram. I want to DM him just to ask him the name of the restaurant, but I don't want him to think that, if you're watching this, I don't want you to think that I want some play. I just want to know the name of the restaurant, because you know I love I love food. That's all it is. No, I was playing. But anyway, no, I ain't playing. It's like low key shade. No, but anyways. So I get in the vehicle and we drive to this restaurant. This restaurant is like amazing. We get in there and one thing I loved about it, I lived in New Orleans for about 10 years, if not more. And one thing I loved about that restaurant, it reminded me of New Orleans, like that dirty, dirty South. Like, it had the old school chandeliers. It was like red velvet lounge sofas with the tables in front of it. And one thing I noticed when we walked in, there was like 3 women in the room. We all had on the same color red dresses, which is like similar to my Santa hat I got on. But like, I call it like lipstick red. If you know like Fredericks of Hollywood lingerie, like the color red that they use, it was that shade. That's the only type of red I like. So we walk in, and the woman who sits us, she's an older woman, has long like platinum blonde hair. She sits us, and I'm sitting there, and there was a lady at the bar, had on the exact same shade of red, tight bandage dress like me, and the cocktail waitress or the hostess that set us had long platinum blonde hair. And I noticed those 2 women. I was like thinking, oh, it's a coincidence. So we're sitting there, we're chit-chatting and everything like that. And he's like, so what do you want to get? I was like, well, I'm going to give me a glass of Merlot. He's like, order whatever you want. I'm like, okay, don't play with me, because I love some food, honey. Don't play. And if we're going to be bougie, I'm going to be bougie. So the waitress came over. She got our drinks. I ordered a glass of Merlot. I'm not sure what he ordered. Some sort of cocktail. But she brought those back. He threw that drink back like it was a Tic Tac. I'm not even going to lie. I was shook at that point, because I was like, but then I thought, you know, some people, like, they do a shot when they get to a club just to relax and stuff like that. And I thought, well, maybe he was a little bit nervous, and I always try to like give people reasons to be messy or give people reasons to do stuff. So I was like, okay, well, maybe he was just a little bit nervous because I'm a bad bitch, I'm baddie. But so I'm sipping on my Merlot or whatnot. We're looking at the menu. He's like, what are you gonna get? I was like, I'm getting a filet, medium rare. I want the grilled asparagus. Like, I already knew. It's like, it's going down tonight. He's like, yeah, order anything you want. And so he wanted the lamb chops. So we had a conversation about lamb chops, because I was like, listen, when a waitress comes up, ask her if the lamb chops, ask her if the lamb chops are from New Zealand or if they're from the States, like Colorado. He's like, why? I said, because I love lamb chops myself, but if they get them from like out of the country, they're usually very gamey. Like got that wild taste to them, and the flavor is not right. But I had some lamb chops in the city that were from, and I remember like I was so like, I don't want to say infatuated, but these lamb chops were so good that I ended up having a full conversation with the chef, and he was telling me that the lamb chops that don't have that gamey taste to them and very flavorful usually come from Colorado. So, little helpful hint for y'all, little helpful foodie hint for y'all. So anyway, so he's like, well, yeah, okay, well, when she comes up here, you ask her, because I don't know. I'm like, okay. So she comes up, I asked her, she's like, I'll go ask the chef. She came back, he didn't even know, and I was like, well, you're going to take a chance, if you're going to pay all that money for the lamb chops, you're going to take that chance, risk it all. He's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and take the lamb chops. So anyway, so they bring the food back and stuff, and I didn't even notice he had already ordered like a couple of drinks. Like I'm still sipping on the first glass of wine. And I look over, he got 3 empty glasses. I don't even remember what he was drinking. I think it was cocktails. So I knew it was straight liquor. And I'm still sipping on my first glass of Merlot. So she brings the food, and he starts eating his lamb chops. I'm eating my steak. And as soon as that piece of steak hit my tongue, like I wanted to cry. Like I literally got a little tear in my eye. I was like, it's so savory. You know I love food when I'm like got a tear in my eye. He was like, oh, is it that good? I'm like, how's your lamb chops? He's like, oh, they all right. I said, are they gamey? He's like, yeah, a little gamey. So he's like, you want some? I was like, no. I was like, if they gamey, I don't want no parts of that. He was like, can I have a piece of your steak? And I'm like, sure. You know, I'm all about sharing. So I cut him a little piece off, and he ate. He's like, oh my God, that filet is so good. He was like, I'm about to order me one of those. I'm gonna have him take these lamb chops back. I'm gonna order me one, and that's gonna be done with it. And then I was like, okay, well, whatever. And he was like, no, I don't really want to do that. He's like, and then after a while, he got his not 4. Okay, I'm exaggerating. He had like 2 more cocktails. So he had like 5 cocktails to my 1 glass of Merlot. And, and I didn't catch on, like it wasn't until like the end that I caught on when I saw the empty glasses on his side. But then he was like, can I have half of your steak? I'm like, no, bruh. You talking about I'm a queen? You gonna treat me like a queen? Now you want to eat half of my food? Nah, bruh. We ain't doing that. I had to get like straight. We homeboys, shoulder bumps and everything else. Like, no, we ain't doing that today. I was like, we're not doing that today. So he ends up like we get finished eating. He's like, do you want another glass of wine? I was like, well, I'm almost finished. I have maybe like one little sip left in my wine glass. So I was like, I'm almost finished. Let me go ahead and sip it. He's like, I said, I'm gonna go to the ladies' room. And one thing I noticed before I got to go to the ladies' room, when we walked into the restaurant, it was like I said, it was very like classy, like bougie. It was cool but bougie at the same time. Like all the women were wearing cocktail dresses, had on heels. The men had on button-up shirts, so they had on blazers. They had the chandeliers, the red velvet sofas. Like, I mean, it was on point. And the music that was playing was a very like elevator like classical type music. And I noticed before I got up to go to the bathroom, like the music changed. Like it went from like classical elevator music to like it was like R&B rap. And I'm sitting, but it was real faint. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I'm like, is that Drake? And I remember like I nudged him before I said I was gonna go to the bathroom. I nudged him. I was like, hey, are you listening to the music? He's like, what are you talking about? And when I turned to look at him, I noticed the couple that was next to us. It was a younger woman. She looked like she was maybe in her early 20s. She had the long blonde hair too, like the cocktail waitress, not the cocktail, like the what do you call them again? She had the long blonde platinum hair and a same color red dress that me and the girl at the bar and the hostess. That's what hostess had on, and she had a straight long platinum hair. and she was sitting with an older gentleman like right next to us in the booth. And when I turned to look at him and talk to him, I noticed her too, and I was like, "Hey." And I was telling him, I was like, "Have you noticed the music? The music has changed." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Listen." I was like, it went from like classical, bougie type music to like Drake, "I shouldn't have to F for free." That was a song that was playing, but it was so low that like if you were talking, you wouldn't even heard it. But it got like we stopped talking after a while, and I was really starting to focus on everything around me, and I was like, "What the heck?" Like the music didn't even match the scene. So he's like, "What?" I was like, listen to the song." And he was like, "Man, that is Drake. And that is that song, 'I shouldn't have to F for free." And then I look over, they got a DJ. I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. They got a little DJ in here and stuff." I was like, "I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the ladies' room." So I get up and I go to the ladies' room, and I walk past this table that has like the curves, like, it's like a booth. Had like the half circle booth. And these dudes look like the straight mob. I'm not even going to lie. Like they look gang. I'm telling you right now. Professional and gang. So, I go ahead and I go to the bathroom, and I come out, and one of the girls like, "Man, I love your dress, blah, blah, you're so beautiful, blah, blah," and stuff like that. And I'm like, chit chat. I was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, "Man, this music," because the music started getting louder, and I was like, "This music is good." Like, I was telling them the whole situation of me talking to dude about how the music changed and the Drake song. They're like, "Oh, that's our homegirl. She over there spinning records over in the corner. Go tell her," because she's always worried about the music she plays. She's like, "I'm scared people aren't going to like my jams, blah, blah." Like, "Please go tell her." I was like, "Okay, I got you." So when I came out of the bathroom, I told him, I was like, we had just finished with our meals or whatnot. So the waitress had picked up our stuff. I was like, "I'm going to go talk to the DJ, blah, blah, and stuff like that." He's like, "Okay, cool. I'll pay the bill." So I walk over to the DJ, and I'm chatting with her. She's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I appreciate that." You know, like when you're a DJ, you're always worried about people not liking your stuff. And, you know, that can really hinder your job and getting gigs and stuff. And I was like, "I completely understand." I said, "But you playing the jams, girl." And I turn around, and there's like just a lot of people come, like they pulled the tables back. It was like, I swear it was like dusk till dawn. They pulled the tables back, like it was literally like it went from classy bougie to it's a dance club. Like there was a lot of people there was a lot of people outside trying to get in, and like there's some bad chicks. I'm telling you right now, there's some bad chicks in Dallas. There's a lot of people coming in that freaking bar slash restaurant slash club. I don't know what it was called. They came in. She turned that music up. It got loud. People were dropping it low, bringing it up slow. Like I didn't even want to go after that. I was like, "Oh, I'm having a good time now." And then finally, like we ended up deciding. He was like, "Hey, you know, I want to take you to get like a costume." And I was like, "Oh, I forgot to tell y'all, we had been talking about, in our conversation, we had been talking about, you know, how I love Halloween. Like, I'm down for Halloween. Like, if you go to my Instagram, Shavonne.Richie, at Shavonne.Richie, you should be following me. I don't know what's taking you so long. But anyways, I love Halloween. Like, I do it up for Halloween. I take pictures. I win contests. Don't pop collars. I pop bra straps, honey. But I went Halloween costumes and stuff, and he was like, "Hey, I want to take you to go get a costume." It's like 9 something at night, and I'm thinking to myself, what's open at 9 something at night that you can get a costume? So he's like, "No, I know a place." So we go out and we get in his truck and we head, he's like driving and whatnot. We pull up to a freaking sex shop. It's black dark outside. We in front of a sex shop. He's like, "I'm going to get you a costume out of here." I be peeping stuff. I peeped the scene. I was like, "Listen, this freaking sex shop got bars on the window. We probably in the wrong area. And it's black dark." And I'm thinking to myself, "You are petite." Which means it's everyone for themselves if something goes down. So I ended up going ahead and I got out the truck. We went into the freaking store, and when we walked in, it was shady. I'm telling you right now, this is so shady. Back in the day, I got order everything online. It's cheaper to order online. You get better stuff online, whatnot when it comes to that. But I was like, I'm riding the freaking roller coaster. We're going to see where this freaking date goes. So, we walk in. I'm so used to having like either an older woman working behind a counter at a sex shop or like a young female walking. So usually always a female in a sex shop. We walk in, there's 3 dudes in there. I'm talking like, they're like 6 foot and over. Swole up, like swole city. Dark as night. And I'm like, we walk in, they're like, oh. And I was like, hey guys, how you doing? They're like, oh, how y'all doing? I was like, oh, we good. After that, it was crickets. It was so freaking awkward. We walked around that whole store and I was like, I don't see anything I like. He's like, you don't want this? You don't want that? I'm like, no. I was like, I could get better costumes for that price, for like less than that price online. And so like, I was like, okay, that's cool. It's fun, whatever. I was like, you ready to go? He's like, yeah, let's go. So we walk out. I'm like, y'all have a good night. They're like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, it's so sketch because who really goes into a sex shop anymore? Like we have the internet. Everybody orders stuff offline usually. Like I even order my groceries offline and have them delivered to my place. So I'm thinking to myself, and the prices are so high in these sex shops, it's crazy. I don't even know. But anyway, so we get back in his truck and I'm sitting there and he's not even paying attention to anything. Maybe it's because the many years that I lived in New Orleans and I worked in the quarter and stuff like that. Like you have to learn to have street smarts and you have to learn to think quick. So we're sitting in a truck and I'm like, did you not peep that? He's like, what are you talking about? So then I had to explain that to him. He's like, man, yeah, that is sketch. So he's like, hey, you want to go to an after hours club? So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do this. So we're driving and on the way there, he opens his center console and he's like, he pulls something out and he takes something. And I only saw it out the corner of my eye. And then I turned and I looked at him. I was like, what was that? He's like, you want some GHB? I didn't even know what the hell GHB was. And the crazy thing was like, okay, I was a little tipsy because I had some wine and stuff. Don't go by my example. Please don't follow me by my example because this could have ended up really, really bad. So he's like, you want some GHB? And I'm like, well, what's that? And he's like, oh, and he's like, never mind. He's like, you'll probably never allow me to take you on a date again. And then I was like, huh? Because I was just so confused. There was so much stuff going on. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. And so I was like, okay, whatever. Because I didn't really feel unsafe with him at all the whole time. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't know. Because we both were kind of drinking, and that's another thing. You should never get in a vehicle with somebody who's throwing drinks back like that. So yeah, that's another thing that I should have been more alert on. I'll never do that again. So anyway, so we're driving. It's like, we're going to go to this after hour club. I was like, yeah, I'm down, because we're having a good time. I didn't want the night to end. It was still early, it was only like 10 something at night. So we pull up in the Colette's and he was like, have you ever been to Colette's? And I was like, no, but I've had friends like living in New Orleans. Cause I think Colette's is only in Texas and Louisiana, like New Orleans. I'm not for sure though. Don't quote me on that. But I had friends when I lived in New Orleans always asking me if I wanted to go to Colette's, and I never got a chance to go. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down. I'm trying to be wild, honey. It's Gemini. I was trying to be wild, honey. So we pull up in the parking lot, and we get out, and I remember we walked in, and I can't remember exactly the price it was for us to get in, but it was expensive. Like, it's no joke. So, I remember the young lady behind the counter asking us if we had ever been there before. And I'm like, no. And he's like, no, we've never been here before. But he was all bucking this up. He ain't never been there before, but he bucking it. Let's go to Colette's. And by the way, I don't even know if I even said this to y'all, but it's a swingers club if you don't know. So she's like, have y'all ever been here? And I'm like, I've never been here. He's like, no, I've never been here. She's like, I'm going to give y'all a tour. So we're like, okay. So she starts walking us around the club, there's people in there dancing and stuff like that and everything. We go into this one room and she's telling us, she's like, okay, yeah, there's the sheets, the clean sheets are right here. if you decide to come in here and have some fun or bring another couple in, just make sure you pull the sheets off the bed and put them to the side. Someone would always come in here and freaking clean up and lay new sheets down. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, like, we ain't about to do jack up in here. But, I mean, I'm all about watching live porn. But even though I've never seen it before in my life, I'm like, okay, we're going to have some fun tonight. So every room we went to, she would always open the doors and we would walk in. So I'm thinking to myself, okay. We come out of that room, we're walking down this little hallway, and I see 3 couples like hugged up together, and they're looking through this huge plexiglass window. So they're looking through this huge I can't even talk straight today. They're looking through this huge plexiglass. One more again, they're looking through this huge plexiglass window. And they're all hugged up and everything. And me not thinking, because I had a couple of drinks of wine, a couple of glasses of Merlot. I walked straight to the door. Because I walked out of that first room. I walked straight to the door. I opened the door. I walked straight in. Walked straight in. There was a couple in there buck naked doing some stuff that I've never seen in person from a stranger. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like it was like I didn't even exist to them. They were like going at it. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I turn around and I'm like bolting out of the room and about to knock him down while he's coming in. And I'm standing out there and he comes back out and he looks at me with straight like terror in his eyes. Like, literally, he looked like a deer in headlights. He came out of that room and he looked at me. He was like, Shavonne, why didn't you tell me? Like I had straight like, he looked at me like I had straight like, what's the word? Like threw him under the river, like sold him out. Like I just like didn't. I don't even know I can't even remember what the word is right now. But he looked at me like I screwed him over. And I'm like, bro, I walked in there, didn't know what I was coming into. I was shook. I can't help it because you're going to freaking fly past me. I was stunned. I was shook. I didn't know what to say. I had no words. I was mute. And so he comes out like literally, he wanted to cry. Like he came out. We came out like, what the heck did I just see? But anyway, so we got through that. And so we're in the club, we're having fun, we're dancing on the dance floor, blah, blah. Like, yeah, we ain't hitting them rooms, we ain't doing none of that. I don't know you from a can of paint. We just here, we getting to know each other, blah, blah. We didn't know it was like bring your own alcohol, but when we got up to the bar, we tried to ask for a drink. The girl behind the bar was like, hey, you got to bring your own alcohol. And there was an older couple next to us like, oh, we got vodka, we'll share with you. So they were sharing their vodka with us. And I remember every time I'd get a drink, I would take a sip and it would be gone. But I'm a talkative person. Like I love to talk anyways. And especially if I get to drinking, I'm really talking. Like my ice will melt in my drinks. So he kept like my drinks kept disappearing after I took a drink, and I didn't even click in my head that he was snatching them out of my hand. So finally, like the guy that was with the lady we were speaking to, he was like, hey, I'm gonna make you another drink. He keeps drinking your drink. I was like, he's drinking my drink. He's like, yeah, he keeps taking them out of your hand. So I was like, okay, yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. So they were trying to get us to come home with them, but yeah, that wasn't gonna happen. But anyway, so he made me another drink, and we're talking and stuff, and I call him Jared. We named the guy I was on a Bumble date with, Jared. So Jared comes around, and I catch him as soon as he like opens my finger and pulls my drinks out, and I literally looked at him, he threw that stuff. Like, take it to the head. Like, he straight tossed that drink back. And I was just looking at him. And I was like, can I drink my drink? Like, can I have more than one sip? He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go outside and have a cigarette in the smoking area. I was like, okay. So he goes outside, have his cigarettes or whatnot. I'm chatting. I started to notice the time, and I'm like, it's been like 40 something minutes. And I asked them, I was like, where's Jared at? And they're like, oh, he said he was going to go outside and smoke. He straight ditched me in this club. So I was like, first of all, I should have took an Uber home. I should have just said, screw him, and called an Uber. And because he was out in the back smoking cigarettes, and went to the front, got an Uber, and went home because it was bull crap. So I go out. I was ready to go by then because the couple we were talking to, her husband kept trying to get me to go to the bathroom with her, and I'm like, I don't need to go to the bathroom. I'm fine. I don't need to go tinkle. Like, why are you trying to force me to go to the bathroom with your wife? I don't want to go. I don't need her touching up on me and stuff. But anyway, so like, when I was finally over it, I walked out, and he happened to be in the front, and I was like, hey, Jerry, I'm ready to go home. He's like, okay, I'm almost done. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go home here pretty soon. If you're not ready to go, I'll just get an Uber. He's like, no, I'm going to take you back home. So we finally go, and we get in his truck, and we hit the highway, and I'm like quiet because I'm pissed by then. Like, I'm really upset, like annoyed to the utmost. And he notices that. He's like, how come you're not talking? I was like, I don't want to talk. And so he was like, well, what's the problem? I was like, I didn't really cause no argument. Like, I try to avoid arguments if I can. Like, it's not that serious to me. So I'm like, there's nothing wrong. He's like, no, there's something wrong because you're very talkative. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I was trying to be sociable, not sociable. I was trying to be very calm, cool, and collected with this conversation, having an adult conversation on what was bothering me. I was like, well, listen, I don't appreciate you taking me to a swingers club once. I don't appreciate you taking me to a swinger club for one, and then ditching me. And I also don't appreciate you keep snatching my drinks out of my hand and just throwing them back. Like, that's so disrespectful. Like, if you want to drink or you want to sip or whatnot, you need to ask. First of all, I don't share my stuff like that, one. Because everybody got cooties, honey. Everybody got them. So I was like, and then you kept snatching my drinks and just like tossing them back. And that's exactly how I said it. Like, it was very like calm, like when I told him, but I was trying to get my point across. He freaking clicks out. Like, we're in a truck. He's got the pedal to metal, like doing 100 and something on expressway, and he's screaming at me, like yelling at me, like, you knew that I had a drinking problem, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at him like, no, I really didn't know you had a drinking problem, because first of all, if you had a drinking problem, I wouldn't be out here drinking with you, one. And I sure wouldn't be in a vehicle with you while you doing 100 and something miles an hour down expressway. Jesus take the wheel moment. I would never even like that. Like, I would never even do that. So I'm sitting, he's screaming. Like, the whole time he's just screaming. Like, literally my eardrum is ringing. And I'm like, and I'm trying to be very like calm, cool, and collective and calm him down. Like, okay, Jared, I understand. And I noticed, like, the certain things that he said, because he already told me about his ex-girlfriend, certain things that he said, it was things that she did. So it was like he saw me as his ex-girlfriend. He was taking out his pain and hurt from that relationship on me. So I was like, okay, just be calm. So I was like, okay, calm down, Jerry. It's okay. Like, can we slow this truck down? Like, there's no need for us to be screaming, blah, blah. That crap did not work. It did not work. He was going in. He was swerving the truck, and I was thinking to myself, we about to die. I was really thinking to myself, we gonna die. So it was like, okay, the calm, sweet Shavonne is not working. So let me go ahead and just click the hell out. Because if we gonna die together. And he gonna know how I feel about this situation. So I look over at him and I freaking snapped. I started screaming. I'm telling you right now, I was screaming so loud. I had no voice for 3 days after this. And my throat was hurting the whole time I was screaming. I was screaming at him so like, I don't even freaking know you from a can of paint. I'm not your ex-girlfriend. We the complete opposite. She got blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm chocolate, got dark hair, dark eyes. I don't know what the heck you talk about. I was like, you freaking ditched me, left me at a swingers club by myself for about an hour, snatching my drinks out of my hand all night long. And I've been nothing but calm, cool, and collected and just letting that stuff slide. I was like, but you want to act crazy? You want to act crazy tonight and try to kill me on this expressway? I said, well, guess what? We're going to die together and you're going to know how I feel. The look on his face, he was shook. He was like, that. He got quiet real quick. The whole rest of the way to my apartment building, it was crickets and tumbleweeds. Nobody said nothing. We didn't have no music playing, nothing. We drove up, and when he pulled up in front of my building, I swung that door up and I looked at him. I was like, delete my number. Don't ever call me again. Forget my address. I want nothing to do with you. I said, because that was bull and you know it. And I got out that truck and I slammed that door. The whole time I was still nervous. Like my heart was beating. But once I got in that freaking building, the door is locked. I was like, he can't get me now. So I strolled up to the elevator, strolled over to the elevator, got in there, went up to my apartment, and went to sleep. And you know what? The next day I woke up, he was following me on Instagram. So, hey, Jared, I know Jared's not your name, but if you hear this, or if you watch this video, you know I'm talking about you. You need to tighten up, honey, tighten up, get yourself right. But, so yeah, that was my first crazy Bumble date. And let me tell you, the second one, like I said, there's levels to crazy. The second one is a whole other level. And I know like a few people that I know of, and him as well. I think he also follows me. When I post that video, they're gonna know. They're gonna know who I'm talking about. But yeah, thank you guys again for sitting here and listening to my story time. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. Like I said, you don't want to miss out on any of my videos. Happy holidays to everyone, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.